Everyone, it's Alyssa here, and today I wanted to bring you a video on what it's really like working for NRS, also known as National Retail Solutions. So basically, National Retail Solutions, at least from my understanding, solely send out vendors to help in Lowe's home improvement stores. They have certain companies that will pay National Retail Solutions or their parent company, Apollo Retail, and they will pay them a certain amount of money for the vendors to go into the store and specifically merchandise, change tags, change merchandising, the whole shebang of their products, rather than just having the Lowe's associates do it, because it's a huge store. Not always do the employees there have time. So how it all started for me, I applied online on Indeed.com. I got a phone call. She really liked me. She told me it was $14 an hour, which was super nice, and it would be about 24 hours a week. I was like, yeah, that's absolutely fine. I loved $14 an hour. It was great. And from there, you do go on to a second interview if they do want to hire you, because most companies have 2 interviews. Both of them were phone interviews. And then after the second one, he basically sent me the UPS packing label to mail them my I-9. And then after that, once they received it, we set up my first 2 training days, which were actually in person. Nothing before then had been in person. In the actual 2 of the stores I would be in, with a trainer that drove up to where I live, around where I live, where the stores were, from New Jersey. After those 2 training days, you're on your own. So you don't get a lot of product knowledge training, and your tasks you do every month will change, and they don't send out very good information on what to do for those tasks. My managers were very nice, but they weren't always helpful. So they were super nice, and they were like very understanding about a lot of stuff, but they weren't always the best to guide you through how to do a task or what to do or where to find the product, who to talk to. And like I just said, it can be kind of hard to understand the tasks. For me, I have grown up where my grandfather was a contractor. Both my uncles were painters and contractors growing up. And so I kind of grew up around that. I've painted my rooms with my mom my entire life, but I don't have the best knowledge on the actual equipment to do the job. So I was kind of confused on a lot of the stuff with tools, and unless I did it with my trainer those first 2 days, I was very confused for most of the tasks I had to do. And I don't think I did any of them right, but I was never corrected on how to do them. But I'm also one of those types of people that I like doing a task and doing it right and knowing that I did it right. I don't like going in and being like, I think this is right, so we'll go with that. I've never been that type of person, and it bothers my OCD if I do that. One of the other things I did not like was that it was very on your own, which I'm fine and I'm very independent, but you have to use your own car. So if I had a store that I had to drive 45 minutes away to, I had to drive my own car, use my own gas, use my own phone, and you also had to get all the materials you needed. So whether it was packing tape, a drill, stuff like that. The only stuff that came with the packaging, so say with the ones we had to build a pallet for, they came with the screws, but that was it. Another thing, you only get paid mileage when you go from one store to another store in the same day. So if you have an 8-hour shift in one store that's close to you, but then you have a 45-minute drive to another store that you're doing on a different day, you don't get paid mileage each morning you drive there. So unless you go to one store in the morning, you only have like a 3-hour task to do, and then you go to another store in the afternoon, that's when you would get paid mileage. I would always double check with the manager at that point just to make sure you're actually getting paid that. And the only other time you will get paid mileage is if you are helping out in other stores that aren't directly assigned to you. So I know I want to say about 3 stores that were about an hour and a half away from me, and they paid me mileage to go to those stores. So I've been told. I've never checked my time card. I advise doing that. Another iffy thing is because I started when I was going into the lawn and garden outdoor home improvement season of going in about March, April, I was told I'd be getting 24 hours a week, and I could choose more tasks and stuff to do throughout the summer, and I would get less hours when it came to winter. For me, That was great. I was like 24 hours a week, $14 an hour. That's great. And then it slowly became that if I didn't want to travel to those stores that were an hour and a half away from me, I was getting basically no hours because they didn't have enough tasks in the stores that I was assigned. But they had a lot of unfinished tasks in other stores from months and months and months before that had piled up. And then the time came at one point when I looked at the schedule for July that for the 3 stores I was assigned, one of them was about a 10-minute drive for me. The other 2 were about a 45-minute drive in opposite directions. So it wasn't like they were like super close together. It was if I wanted to go to different stores, it was like a 40-minute drive in between those 2 stores. I had 3.5 hours total in all 3 stores. I was like, I'm not driving to one of the stores that's 45 minutes away to do an hour task that's realistically only going to take me 20 minutes. That's not worth my time. And it kept happening. Like the month in June, they had over-assigned me. They assigned me 5 stores. 3 were mine. 2 I said I would do because they were basically going south, but it was about a 45-minute drive to those 2. I was like, that's fine, whatever, I'll get more hours. $14 an hour, it's a big incentive. And then they had scheduled me like a 2.5 hour away store. And I was like, they scheduled me one store that was 5 hours away. I was like, I'm not going to those. I never said I would. I said I would go in about a 45-minute to an hour radius from where I live. I told them I didn't want to travel anymore. And that's when July came around and I got 3.5 hours. Let's just say I didn't work those 3.5 hours and I gave my notice saying I was leaving very quickly. And it wasn't even worth me giving my 2 weeks, which I always do, no matter what job I'm at, because I wasn't going to go work 3.5 hours in 3 total stores and do all that driving for the 3.5 hours. So it wasn't worth it. And realistically, at the end of the day, it is not worth getting $14 an hour for no hours. Like, I would rather get paid $11 an hour and work 15, 20 hours rather than get paid $14 an hour and work 3.5 hours. At the end of the day, it just wasn't adding up. It wasn't worth me trying to figure out my schedule around working those 3.5 hours or driving from store to store, wasting my gas, even though they would pay me mileage. I'm sorry. No, I'm not going to go waste my time doing that. I would rather get a substantial shift. So overall, like I said, the managers were really nice. The people that offered me the job were very, very nice. And at the end of the day, they just couldn't back up the amount of hours they told me I would be getting for those 3 stores. If you want to travel and you want to drive around and you want to get experience and you like driving all over the place to go to work, if you have a lot of Lowe's stores in your area or general area, but for me, at the end of the day, I did not want to drive an hour and a half one way to a store, going through city traffic, and you have to be at the stores at 9 o'clock in the morning, between 8 and 9, usually. No, not worth it. I hope you guys enjoyed my take on what it's really like working for NRS or National Retail Solutions. Thank you guys for watching. Like and subscribe, and have a great rest of your day, guys.